Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitcraft Amplified server. Just observing this little squid fellow over here, hanging out, spinning around, having a good time. Welcome back to another episode, and not much has been done. The only thing to comment on is that we have an extra expansion on the third floor up there, and that's literally it. We did a live stream. That was going to be my time to come over here and make some progress. We did one floor and we went to get some glass, and then I got completely distracted. We tried to prank Mumbo and something hilarious happened. But we'll talk about that in a bit. First of all, I want to grab some bones and then grab some glass, because we are going to do a little bit of building at the beginning of this. Now, I got loads and loads of sand and went to the nether smeltery to smelt it all. And now I think we're going to end up not using that much glass at all. We've probably got more than enough over here, so you know, that's fine, it doesn't really matter. And brilliant, the items don't say in the crafting bench like they do on modded, which is really convenient, but that should actually be more than enough for what we want to do right now. So anyway, I'm just grabbing a few materials here because we're going to start off by doing a little bit of building. Now, when it comes to the wall that was going to surround this thing, I knew it was going to be quite difficult because you're in survival. It's going to make it quite difficult to make just a big old structure like this look really good without having to put too much detail into it, because on a large scale that detail is going to be very difficult and time consuming. So on the live stream we popped onto play.xisumavoid.com onto the plot world, used world edit to start building something, and we actually came up with a absolutely fantastic idea for what we're going to build around this farm. It's going to be brilliant, and originally I sort of pictured something where we perhaps build like a nice pattern of blocks that sort of stretch out around the build through this like thin wall, because this is just going to be like a one wide wall, right? And then maybe we'll have like a few support pillars that come out a little bit, which is why I left this space here sort of free from the slabs, so that there would be plenty of room to mess around with this. But it turns out that we've got such a good idea. This entire thing is going to be flat, and I think it's going to look pretty amazing. It's the type of build that I haven't done before, and it was suggested by someone in chat, and as soon as they said it I was like, I hate you, but I was being sarcastic, because it's going to be a lot of work to do what we're going to do this episode. And last episode I asked you all about time lapses, and the response was basically 95% of you really like time lapses, about 4% of you think they're alright and maybe should be every other episode, and about 1% of people didn't like them, which I thought was a really good response. So time lapses are a plus. Whenever there's an opportunity to do one, I will do just that. So we're going to have windows like this going all the way across, and I've just realised it's like difficult to build here from the side on, because you have to place a block and then remove it again, right, if you want to build in the next column. And now my block is stuck up there. So what I wanted to test first of all, and I wish I'd have brought some slabs as well, and now it's going to be night time. We should be alright because we've lit up the area and slabbed it as well. What I wanted to test is what this looked like, because the reason we're going to put glass at the bottom is so you can look in to the nether portals, and we just did this on the plot world and didn't really get an idea of what it would look like. I think that's good, but what I might do is make the windows a little bit higher, because we're going to have this going all the way across to the middle. So let's put in a few more glass blocks just so we can get a bit more of a feel for it. It's going to go over like this. In the middle there will be an area where we can't have the same size window, so in the very middle there's going to be like 3 rows of stone bricks together, and that way you'll be able to look into the farm and look down into the portals as well. So I think this right here is good. What we could do is change this out for blocks, so you don't have like the half slab gap there, but actually that's a really good angle to look in at the portal from. And I think maybe if we add one more glass you'd be able to see a little bit of the second floor as well, although that is obviously going to expand and come out a little bit closer actually, so maybe you won't. But either way, we just want to get this right, because we're going to put a row of stone slabs, these types, across the top there, and then we're going to build something pretty amazing that's going to go all the way up to the top. But I'm not going to spoil it just yet. We're going to come back to that in a moment. What I want to do now is talk about what we did in the live stream with Mumbo. So everyone wanted me to prank Mumbo, and I think every time I stream, loads of people request me to prank someone, and so I thought we'd do it. We went over to Mumbo's base. He didn't see us when we were sort of creeping around his base trying to find out where he was, and then he was working on a new farm like outside of his base, and we managed to creep up the hill without being seen, and we were sort of lingering around above him, and we were trying to anvil him. Now, it almost went really well because we were all discussing it as a group on the live stream. People were pitching in ideas. We had a plan to sort of get directly above him and then put a message in chat that would get him talking. And at that point, we'd be directly above him. We'd drop the anvil on him, and it would be all in good fun. Of course, you know, when we prank each other, we're all up for that here on the server. You know, it's all good fun. Don't worry about, you know, Mumbo being upset or anything like that. Anyway, then he went away after we'd been sort of stalking him, like, you know, moving around like this above, trying to wait for the correct time to press the anvil. And unfortunately, when he came back, he sort of saw me, but he left me do my own business, and I went back up top again, and I managed to drop the anvil on him. Except it didn't kill him, and I almost did this. I almost killed myself with an anvil. To show you what I did, I placed, you know, we were dropping anvils like this, and it would fall, and it would either land on him or near him. And then what I did is I was holding shift on the edge, I placed the anvil, fell down like this, and almost died from my own anvil, which would have been absolutely ridiculous and quite hilarious. And we might be in a little bit of a death cycle here because I've got some pesky skeletons hanging out in my base. Guys, now is not the time. Like, can't you see? I'm trying to record a video, and I don't really want to get into a bit of a death loop here. So you guys need to leave. Leave already. What are you doing? How many punches does it take to kill a skeleton with no weapon, eh? Probably a lot. I'm going to be here for a while now because I'm getting my butt kicked by all these skeletons. Anyway, you've seen what we're doing here. I'm going to get more of this built, and then we're going to discuss what will go on top of it, what's going to make up the entire structure that surrounds this farm. By the way, if you did want to see the live stream, it's uploaded to the second channel. You can always find a link to that in the description box. And I think I'm going to undo a little bit of this right here because I think it looks a little bit odd. The windows on the corners, just a bit too much close to one another. And we've got that like free bit in the middle. So what I'm actually going to do is swap these over, making more work for myself as always, as if I didn't have my hands full already. Believe me, when we build this thing, it's going to be pretty epic. So then over here, we've got this little bit like so, and I don't think it really needs to be like that, does it? We can just have the windows free wide going all the way across if we, like, respectively move those blocks over to that corner and those ones over to that one. So I'll come back and fix this going around the whole way, and when we come back, though, this thing should be nice and finished, and yeah, and so it's going to look like that, with stone bricks on either side, which I think looks a fair bit better. So I'm finishing up the wall, and there's a creeper down here, and then a skeleton sort of appeared next to it, and it was red for a moment like it had just taken damage, which would indicate that it fell from somewhere, but where exactly I'm not sure. Anyway, this gave me an idea though. If we pop down here and get the skeleton after us, now if he's going to shoot, go on, shoot the creeper. Shoot. Oh, he's not interested. He's not interested. You need to be more interested. Pay attention to what's going on. Right, that's it. Yeah, try and shoot me. And now, shoot again, shoot again. Nope, doesn't want to know. I want to get a record. I feel like this is something I want to do right now. Now you need to pay more attention. That's right. Shoot again. Oh, he did it, he did it. Oh, but it has to be the shot that kills it. Doesn't it? Of course it does. Oh, well, we gave it a shot. Bam. Take that. Anyway, I'm going to finish up this wall. You can kind of see how it's going to look if we go over onto this side. And what we'll do is we'll pop onto the plot world now, and I'll show you what comes next. So, welcome to play.xisumavoid.com. I am not surprised to log on and see something like this. The people on here are just awesome. So, in the stream, we created this big thing right here. Let's talk about that in a second. I just want to check out this multicolored heart. There's some upside-down sheep on the top, some crazy text on the sides, and this sheep from Queen. Hi. That is awesome. And behind, someone else has come over here, and it's from Oggy. Tried to design a colour scheme. Well, this is really useful actually, because this is something that we're going to need when we do what we're going to do, and you might get a rough idea of what we're going to be doing based on this over here. So we were working on the walls here, right? We're going to have these big bland stone brick walls, and then possibly we were going to work in some patterns into them. You know, perhaps have some different coloured blocks go across two and then up by one, and sort of make a pattern with a bunch of rules, and it can like wrap round the entire thing. Maybe that makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. But that wasn't really going anywhere. We were messing around with the ceiling. That looked pretty cool. We could have also have done it the other way around, which is what we did on the other side. What is going on over here? and that didn't look as good. So we were going to go with this, and then someone said that you should make it look like a giant dirt block, or sorry, grass block, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, the farm is full of grass. We were joking on the stream about calling it a grass farm, and we could just turn it into a giant diagonal grass block, and it would totally work. I think it would look absolutely amazing. Now, I've been given this some thought, and the thing is 35 blocks across, and Minecraft textures are 8 pixels, or sorry, 16 pixels. So if we double it, we get 32, which leaves us with 3 extra blocks. And here's where the tricky bit is. If we make something here 3 blocks wide in the middle of all of these, which will be 2 blocks wide, or 2 by 2, it will look odd. So 1 and 1 is going to be for the walls on either side, and we're going to have the grass block texture in the middle. Then we've got this odd one that needs to go somewhere. And I think the best way to do this is to just have 2 on one side and 1 on that side over there. You'll probably notice it, but do you know what? It's not the end of the world. The other idea I had was to put it directly in the middle and then also halfway up to have like a cross. So you'd have this sort of thing going on, and then you'd have all of the blocks that make up your grass texture in the middle, and it would be like split, and it would look really odd actually. So I'm glad we're not going to do that. So yeah, we'll just simply have the block on the outside then. But the next step would then be to look at this and figure out what textures and colours we're going to use to recreate this. And I think what I'd like to go for is something relatively simple as opposed to being varied, something with not a lot of texture, because you're going to be looking at it from a distance. So for these browns and greys, I'd like to go with the smoother colours like these ones as opposed to cobblestone, and same for the browns as well. So these are probably the textures we're going to go with, and with the greens, these two right here, depending on how much we actually need, it looks like we need about 3 or 4 colours really, doesn't it? So maybe we'll use all 4 of those. But this comes with an intense amount of resource gathering, and I want to know exactly how much it is that I'm going to use. Yes, I just clicked on it with a compass, that'll teleport you. Looks like we've got a visitor here, Oggy's on the plot. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is do this first here on the server, then I can use World Edit to see exactly how many materials we are actually going to be using, because there is a lot of resource gathering going into this, especially the clay. It'll be another trip over to the mesa, spending ages gathering it and then gathering the dyes, and this has once again just been stepped up in terms of ambition. I thought doing this with stone bricks and a few other bricks for colours and adding a pattern would be like a reasonable way of making it look interesting, but now we've got a really amazing idea here, and it's really going to step up our game. So I was about to get going, I noticed that someone had claimed a plot over here and started building, and behind it, check it out, there is kind of a mock-up of what we've done, or what we're going to do. Just keep the pattern and increase the number of blocks. This design will not fit around the farm, but you can expand it. You can sort of actually, that's in the wrong order that I read it, but it kind of works the other way around. Yeah, I actually really like that. I'm glad that they built this, because it looks really cool when you just go for the clay alone. It looks a bit more stylized. It's not like you're trying to exactly recreate the same texture, but it looks pretty cool. And this shovel here, by the way, looks really great. So maybe we could recreate that as well. That is fantastic. Tom Helduff, if that's you, thank you for this. This is really cool. We might just go with that. And also, is it me or does this pop out a little bit as well? So the grass here comes out, which is something that we might do as well. So lots of ideas. Anyway, it's time for me to get going. We've got to build and figure out exactly what it is we're going to be doing. So I started off by building this thing right here, and I didn't like it. I felt like it was a little bit too noisy, and also when it comes to building it, it means we've got more resources to harvest, although I guess you'd say more different types, and then that means you've got to carry more stuff in your inventory, and in general it will get more complicated and slower to build. Plus it didn't really look too great either. So if we go around to this side, you can see we've built a full mock-up of what we're going to be building here, and from back this far out it looks really good. Can't help but feel like maybe a couple more blocks here and there in the middle should have been different, but that's going to be good for what we're going to build. And it's been designed in a way so that we can simply mirror the edge around on the next side, so it can cover all 4 sides, and then it looks like one giant grass block. Now if you sort of look at it diagonally like this, it is a little bit taller, but that was kind of unavoidable because we need to hide the farm on the inside. If we'd have built it about 10 layers tall instead of 12, it probably would have ended up being just about the size of a square, but it looks really good, so no worries right there. And that's what we got to build on the Hermitcraft server. So this is going to be a ridiculous amount of blocks. Just to give you some numbers, there's 960 brown clay in that wall alone. So in total, that'll be just under 4,000. And I've counted up all the numbers because, of course, I'm going to get prepared and get all the materials. We're looking at 6,824 clay blocks that we need. There's a little bit of green wall up there as well, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. That's over 100 stacks of hardened clay that we need to gather and then dye. And I don't think we even have a cocoa farm, do we? So there's an incentive to build a new farm type. I've got a feeling it might take us a while to do all of this, but we're going to aim to at least get one side done in this video, and of course that would be a cue for a time lapse. But let's get back on the Hermitcraft server. Let's start gathering these resources and see what we can do. I don't know why they stopped. I got over here, I was about to record, turned around, a couple of skeletons wandered over, and then they just stopped. Maybe they haven't seen me. He doesn't know where he's going, does he? Yeah, we've made it over to the mesa, and I'm just picking up the beacon because we're going to plop it down over here. This is the area where we're going to be digging, so we just want to put it over here as far as we can. So right there will do just fine. And I've got a new pick because we're going to be burning through this thing. But a little bit of information for you. You'll learn a little bit more, well, you'll learn the same and a whole bunch of other things in tomorrow's episode of Myth Busting. An Unbreaking Free pick can give you around 6,144 uses. You see, the durability is 1561, but with Unbreaking Free you get up to 6,000, which is just shy of where we're going for with the amount of blocks we need here. We're trying to mine 6,800 of these, so I'm expecting to just need a... oh, I haven't configured it, yeah. A single trip to repair, and hopefully with the ender chest that I have up top, we'll be able to get enough into my inventory and into the ender chest just to take 2 trips. So what have we got? Like almost, 9 is almost 10. 1, 2, 3, just over 4 plus the ender chest. We're definitely going to get over 50. So I reckon in 2 trips we're going to go through this pick once, and we should be able to get all of this that we need all the way back over to the passive mob farm. So I don't actually think it's going to take as long as I initially thought. I've just got to now kick back and do a whole bunch of grindy mining, which is actually, quite relaxing. I'm sure many of you share this opinion in this game, that sometimes just sitting back and doing some digging like this is quite satisfying. So shouldn't take me too long at all now. Okay, I've been on 2 big trips back and forth and managed to transport over 101 stacks of hardened clay. That's a little bit more than we need in total, so if we lose any blocks we've got some spare. And now what we need to do is get the dyes for all of this, and there's quite a lot of them that we need. So let's have a look at our dye chest over here. This is the state of it. Now I've got the brown clay written down here. We need 480 of these, the dyes for them right here. And we need 60 to do the one wall alone. So I'm going to have to grow some of these, I think, with a little bit of jungle wood and some bone meal for now. But I reckon next episode what we should do is take a break from this project and set up some sort of cocoa bean farm down in the base, because we haven't been working on this for a while. So if you'd like to see that, let me know with a comment down below, and I'll let you guys decide what we do next one. Anyway, as well as that, we need some lime. So lime, we don't have a lot of it stocked up. We need 183 of that, which should be no problem because we've got lots of the green. And the green one, by the way, we need 34 of. So we've definitely got enough for lime and green. That's good to see. Greys, bone meal, we've got plenty of ink sacks. We can make all of that. The cyan shouldn't be too difficult. I always seem to forget what cyan is, and it takes me a moment. It's blue. Is it blue and green or blue and red? I think it's blue and green, so we should be fine on that front. And just looking over my list here, that's it. We've got everything we need, so we're only really going to be short on the cocoa beans. So we'll grab some bone meal, make sure we farm up enough to do the one side, and then maybe next episode we'll be building a farm of some sort back over at the base. What a view that is. What an incredible view. As I was building it, I was just thinking to myself, this is going to look incredible. And with one part of it done, it does look pretty spectacular. I think the best view is going to be when you're able to see two sides at once, like when you're standing over here, and then the block is really going to come into its shape, isn't it? But while I was building that, I was thinking about a tweet that I got from someone who was saying that in order to make it a square, it would need to be 50 blocks tall. And I was thinking, what are you on about? I've already counted out how big this thing is. And then I realised after a while what they meant. So, like, the distance of a block across is the same as up. But if you think about it diagonally, this distance here is longer. So when we look at a block like side on, like we're looking at all of these, we're seeing more across for the amount that we see upwards. Which is why, even though this thing is a lot taller than it is in width, it still kind of looks a little bit like a square, doesn't it? And I think it's definitely a bit too much tall for it to be an actual square shape, 100%. But it looks fairly good in proportion. So yeah, I understand what that means now, which is awesome. And anyway, building that was really good. That took about 30 minutes to do one side, so we've still got hours of work ahead of us over here, but it's going to be absolutely amazing when it's finished. And there's not much else I'm going to be doing this episode other than walking around here and staring at this thing over and over again, because it looks just amazing, doesn't it? Anyway, that is going to be it from me of this episode of Hermitcraft. Do hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, and of course leave a comment. Let me know if you want me to continue working on this, or if you want to take a break, go over to the base and we'll make a little cocoa farm, which is kind of what we've got to do anyway, because I've got to get loads of cocoa for all of this. Although I guess I could use bone meal, couldn't I? But anyway, let me know what you want to see, and then we'll do that next episode. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.